Welcome to Detroit's darkest times. I want you to smash the big three. And before we get started, this video is going to be about the topic is going to be guns down, gloves up. And this is just trying to get the gun violence down and try to get people to understand that there's a better way. And me, myself, I've seen a lot of people killed, whether it be from guns, cars, fire, different things of that nature. So I want to bring this to people's attention, not condoning violence, but it would be, in my opinion, it would be better to get two individuals that's got a problem with each other in a ring and let them box it out until the referee stops it. Or until a knockdown, basically. And this would just show people that you could do this, and whether you want to be friends after the fact or not, that would be up to the two individuals. And this is for men and women. But it's just a better way of showing people that, you don't have to use gun violence as an alternative. Most people, men and women, they could talk it out and then they could be good afterwards. But the guns down and gloves up, it's a big thing. And it's better for people to do this than gun violence, because there ain't no coming back from gun violence. But if you get knocked down in a boxing ring, you'll be okay. You just got to learn to accept the situation. If somebody knocks you down and the ref says, it's over, then it's over. And then, you need to move on. Y'all can become friends later or just go your separate ways. But meanwhile, nobody goes to jail. Nobody spends, the rest of their life in jail or anything like that. And this event can take place in each city around the United States. And it could actually be, it could be a gathering, where they sell food and have this event going on and stuff like that with security and stuff like that. And it just promotes guns down, gloves up. That's basically all it is. But like I said, sometimes people just can talk it out and going about their way. But this is an alternative for people. And, you can make an event out of it in each city. And they do it in some cities. And, but, you just got to, if you're willing to do it, and put gun violence to rest, that would be the best thing. And both people agree on it. And whoever gets knocked down, you ain't got to get knocked out, but whoever gets knocked down, you know, or whenever the ref feels like it's over, then it's over, you know. And then you can go your separate ways or whatever, you know, and this would be a good event to have in each city, to be honest. And not condoning violence, but just saying, you know, it'd be better to get in the ring with some boxing gloves than have a shootout, you know. And you might be a little sore after the fact, but at least you're going to be all right, you know. And you got to be grown about it too and accept it, you know. So things like that, that would be come in handy and stuff like that. And I remember back when Mike Tyson was fighting, he was my dude. I liked him. And, you know, they had some good boxers before him. And, but in my opinion, I know there was good boxers before him, but just my opinion, I ain't seen nobody like Mike Tyson. Before Mike Tyson or after Mike Tyson. So basically, he's the man. I mean, I ain't seen nobody, you know, nowhere near Mike Tyson. Now, I've seen a lot of boxers, and I've seen him go against a lot of boxers and stuff, but just the way he was in the ring, you know, you was definitely going to get a show, but now, couldn't guarantee you it would last over the first round, because I believe, if I'm correct, I believe he had 16 knockouts during his first rounds. But, you know, he's just a bad dude all the way around. So you got to give him respect for the fights that he brought us and stuff like that. And like I said, I ain't seen nobody, you know, there was some good boxers before him, but just in my time, I don't really think nobody could match up to him before him or after him. And that's just my opinion, you know. Some other people might have different opinions, but in my opinion, Mike Tyson's the man. You know. And because he would just have some good fights, and he'd have you on the edge of your seat while you're watching the fight, you know. And sometimes some people get upset because it wouldn't last but one round. But then people come to realize that, you know, when you're watching his fights, it might only last one round once you started seeing how he operates. And so he was basically, in my time, he was the best fighter and still is the best fighter, you know. And I know he's retired now, but, you know, I really think, just in my opinion, he's got 2 more good fights in him if he wanted to do it. You know? But I'd really like to see him, you know, I'd like to see Mike Tyson go against Mayweather, which would probably never happen because Mayweather's just going to fight certain people and that's it. But I'd like to see him go against Mayweather. And then let me see who else. I'd say another match with Jake Paul. And them are the two that, if he wanted to do it, I think that he's got it in him to do them two fights. Whether that ever happened or not, I don't know. But that's number two. Wouldn't mind seeing, But I wouldn't mind seeing Mike fight anybody. To be honest with you. But I do want you know, a good match to watch. And anytime Mike Tyson's boxing, it's going to be interesting to watch. So that being said, anybody that's got issues with people needs to find out in their area where this could take place. This could take place at a gym. Some people in the neighborhood can just make it happen in their neighborhood in an empty field, and then have a cookout and stuff like that, sell food and drinks and stuff like that, and just make an event out of it. But that being said, at least it won't be no gun violence, stuff like that, and people will watch these kind of fights, and people will come to them, But like I said, everybody's got to have a grown mentality when this takes place. And if you do get knocked down or knocked out, you got to accept it and move on. You just can't, want to retaliate and come back, and stuff like that, because that ain't being grown, you know. But that's what a lot of times that's what needs to happen, because this gun violence things that way out of hand. Now, there's a difference between being armed and protecting yourself and stuff like that. But I'm just talking about people out there just getting mad at each other and start having a shootout in the neighborhood and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy, you know what I mean? And this happens, but I'm just saying this is it really needs to be guns down, gloves up. And this is every city, I do believe, and this is, give our young generation longevity as far as living. And they can appreciate it, you know what I mean? And everybody around will appreciate it too, because then you ain't got no flying bullets in neighborhoods, hitting innocent people and hitting people's cars and houses and stuff like that. So it's really a good thing, you know. And they need to have this in every city, and just with the security and the referee and stuff like that. And if some people want to do something like that, would be good. Maybe some money too, where both parties get money, but the winner gets the most money or something, and then whoever's doing this event, they can decide how much money they want to put together to give the winner and the loser. Make sure both people get paid, and you'll be surprised. This will come into something real big, and long as everybody acts grown about it, this could be a big thing and a big event in each city. But it just depends on and then both parties need to agree on it and stuff like that, and just agree that, hey, if I get knocked down or knocked out, that's what it is, and we move on. And could be friends after that, or just go your separate ways. Because that's a lot better than gun violence. So I think that's a good thing for people. Like I said, they do it in some cities, but I think this would be a good thing in every city, you know, and or just this could be something that could be added into carnivals and stuff like that, where carnivals travel around and go, city to city, state to state, stuff like that. They could add it in their situation, like have a ring, have a rep, have security, and just two people and they ain't even really got to have beef with each other. It could be just two people wanting to get in the ring together that goes to the carnival and agrees to it, but the loser gets some money and the winner gets some money. And this would be snowball into a big event. But whether people want to do that, or carnivals want to do that, or whatever, it's up to them. But I really think it would be a good thing to keep the gun violence down, and it could just be, and like I said, they ain't got to have a beef with each other. It could just be a friendly two people get in the ring that agrees to it, and then see who gets knocked out or who gets knocked down. And whenever the referee calls it, that's what it is. You leave. Both people get a little money, and that would be up to the venue as how much money they would want to give the loser and the winner. But I think it'd be a good thing, you know. Some people might hear this video and decide they want to do something like that in their neighborhood or something. Have a cookout, drinks, stuff like that, and then have a ring in a field, and then let people go at it, and each party gets a little money, and it might be a good thing. To me, it'd be like throwing horseshoes and betting on horseshoe games. You know what I mean? To me, that's what it'd be like. But now, other people might have a different opinion about it, and just, say different things about it. But to me, it's a way to keep the gun violence down, and because eventually, I really believe eventually that, I think at this point right now, it's getting to, you know, people can have guns with gun permits and stuff like that. And, but these people just out in the neighborhood shooting at each other and all this other stuff, that's going to come to an end. And it's going to come to an end in a bad way. And in two ways. It's going to be either you lose your life, or you go to jail for the rest of your life and you lose your life that way. So either way, it's a lose-lose situation. So this guns down and gloves up, it's a real good thing, that people need to consider. And they would appreciate that, because that's a better way to go. Nobody gets killed and nobody goes to jail. Just basically all in fun, and a lot of people would like to even just watch something like that, you know. So this could be, if people didn't want to do it in their neighborhood, this could be an event they could start doing it, like I said, at carnivals or something like that, and it would be just two people agreeing to get in the ring, and they're paying the loser this much and the winner this much, and you know, and then basically people could record that and throw it on YouTube or whatever, and who knows, if you're a pretty good boxer, it might snowball into something for you. You never know. So that's just an ideal that it's already been out there. But we as people, we're older generation, and we as people back in the days when Mike Tyson was fighting in the late '80s, early '90s, we always said that this would be a good thing when Mike Tyson was fighting. We brought that up years back before they even started. Guns down and gloves up. It's been talked about years back, and I guess eventually somebody decided to start it out, and start doing it. But it's a good thing to promote and things like that. But as long as people act grown about it and agree to it, so it might be a better. I don't know. It's ideal to do it in your neighborhood, but you gotta have security. Some sort of security, and then you gotta have people that get in the ring that agree that once it's over, it's over. Or they can either go their separate ways or become friends or whatever. But things like that, as long as you can agree to that, it's a good thing to happen, And like I said, you ain't got to have a beef with nobody. It could be just two people getting in the ring together and just see what it's about. You know what I mean? So that's a interesting thing. A lot of people would want to watch that anyways, especially if you cooking food and all that, where people can buy plates and drinks and stuff like that, some music. It'd be a good thing in each neighborhood to have. Or if people can't do that without it, going into other violence and stuff, then maybe some carnivals or something like that might want to look into something like that and just have security and have people get in the ring together and two people make money, and then it'd be an interesting thing people can do. But I wanted to bring this topic up because in my time I have seen many people die, whether it be from guns, cars, fire, and other things, So I felt like I would do this video and just put this out there and see if it gravitates to the people or whatever. But I really think it'd be an interesting thing, and that's just my opinion. Now, a lot of people might have a different opinion, stuff like that. But it's real important that we get this gun violence thing down, especially people with guns that don't really need them and don't know how to use them. And, it's just reckless, And we can't be having that, because then when you have that, you got little babies that might get hit by a stray bullet, innocent bystanders might get hit by a stray bullet, or the bullets might come through your house while you're in your house, or in your car while you're driving past, or something like that. So it's real important that we get this gun violence down, you know. And this is just a topic that, bring awareness to it, and I know there's other people out there, wanting the gun violence to, you know, go down, street violence with the guns and all that other stuff. It needs to stop, you know. So that being said, I think it's a good thought, and I just wanted to bring this to y'all guys. And just remember, subscribe, hit the like, the notification, and be looking out for my next video. I'm out.